Hey, this is Idea Coach. He's a coach. He's strong. We're on the weight classes for UFC FX 8, where the main event features Vitor Belfort taking on Luke Reinhold in Brazil. The majority of this card is a bunch of Brazilian fighters, which I was not able to get enough footage of to really make accurate predictions. However, I feel that Jacare Souza will be not submitting Chris Camozzi in the first, maybe second round, depending on how defensive Camozzi is. Evan Dunham has a very good chance at taking on Rafael dos Anjos, and Mike Rio, good fighter. I don't know how any of these fighters are going to be taking the time difference and the different food and stuff like that. All the other little small problems that comes when it goes to fighting outside of your home country in different time zones. But for the most part, a lot of these American fighters or non-Brazilian fighters will just be feeders for the Brazilian mainstays. Now let me get into the main event. I'm not for immediate title shots, but I feel that Luke Rockhold should be facing off a fighter more like Yushin Okami or Hector Lombard or Tim Bosch, where his style can really play off very well with one of those opponents I just mentioned. I feel that Vitor Belfort is actually a very bad matchup for him. Now, Luke Reinhold, he's 10-1. He's the last champion for Strikeforce at 185. And he should be one fight away from getting a title shot. But he's nowhere in the mentions of facing Anderson Silva with or without Chris Weidman taking him on later on this year. He's not really pushed, mainly because a lot of his fights outside of the Jacare victory was against very lackluster competition. I mean, he does have a lot of submissions victories, and he does have a lot of other finishes as well. But he hasn't really beaten anybody. I mean, his fight with Tim Kennedy was pretty flat. And I think Luke Reinhold's style comes from a lot of other fighters coming in flat. I mean, his fight with Ronaldo Zuda, which was a huge upset at the time, Zusa just came in just really without his head in the game, and he just lost a point decision fight to Reinhold. And ever since then, he's held the belt. He's going against Vitor Belfort. Now, for better or worse, middleweight, light heavyweight, championship, non-championship fights, he's an 8-minute fighter. Now, Vitor Belfort, ever since dropping down to middleweight back in 2009, has had actually some favorable matchups. I mean, Terry Martin, Matt Lindland had really no chance of beating Vitor whatsoever, regardless of the category or the mind frame of the phenom. Akiyama, being one of the worst game planners ever, deciding to go square up against a machine gun fast hand hitter like Vitor, led to him getting knocked out. Anthony Johnson came in really out of shape, didn't even make weight, missed weight like 11, 7, a large amount of pounds. And Michael Bigsby, I love him, but at the same time, his very medium-paced style is akin to that of Richard Franklin, where it just doesn't work for someone who has such a snap style to their striking. So we have one guy in Rockhold who hasn't faced anyone. We have another guy in Vitor who has had all of his wins come from favorable stylistic matchups. His two losses coming to Anderson Silva and John Jones, who are considered the pound-for-pound greatest, 1 and 2 respectively, no matter which way how you switch that off. So I'm going to say this. If Luke Rockhold can somehow delay the punishment, maybe circle around that first round, fluster Vitor, he has an okay chance of getting a point decision. But with someone who has knockout power like Vitor, I just don't see that happening. I just believe that the Phenom will get another win at 185 and should come closer to getting another title shot. Okay, guys. Hope you like my pick. Take care.